Respecting the spots, respecting the police, respecting our sport, respecting one another. I love wheelies, the geese love the wheelies, the inmates love the wheelies. We're having a good time. God damn it, what are you doing? Selling water? Alright guys, what is going on? Today we are not on a Hood Eats, we're not on a big ride, and I'm not really doing anything too crazy, but I do really need to talk to you. It is right before August, so you know what that means. Infamously, this is when ROC is going. Infamously, this is when Lean Back is going. We're getting ready for ROL. We're getting ready for the big ride. So I need to talk to you guys about some things. Not only do I want to talk to you about why we do these rides, the history of some of these rides, but I also want to talk about how to do it safely. So as you know, other riders see this and they say, wow, what a bunch of idiots, what a bunch of squids. But there's obviously a safe way to do this because there's guys like Seabear, Joe, Steve, Kenny, even myself, Cowboy, that have been doing this for almost 10 years plus. Some of these guys are almost going on 20 years plus of doing this. So there is a safe way to do this. There is a way to mitigate a lot of risk and make it home to your wife and kids at a lot higher chance. You still are riding a motorcycle and you do still have, you know, semi trucks that could, you know, hit you or whatever. But I want to talk about a lot of the ways that we can mitigate some risk. And Lean Back is literally this week, so I feel like I need to talk to you guys about this stuff. Stay tuned. Oh, and how can I forget, man? Look at the bike I'm on. I am on this beautiful 2003 Cali Edition ZX6R. Now, why do I say Cali Edition? Because I call it that because it's still got a charcoal box on it. It's the only 636 that I've seen that still has a charcoal box on it. I'm actually giving away this exact bike on my Patreon. The last day to get entered is September 30th, and then on October 5th, we'll be pulling the winner. And this bike is going to go to somebody in the lower 48. All you got to do is go down on my Patreon down there, click the link down there, and yeah, you'll be entered in for a chance to win. This is 100% the cleanest and most stock 636 that we've ever given away. Unmolested, truly unmolested. I sure do like riding stock 636s. Feels good to be back in Chicago vlogging, man. This is like I'm back in my element. Brian's natural element. What is you doing, baby? What's not my natural element is these shoes. I'm in a pair of dirty old Yeezys with grandpa socks on, so the foot brake is going to feel pretty weird, so don't expect too much out of me as far as stunts and wheelies go today, boys. Hello. Over the curb. All right, guys, let's jump right into this one. Why are these big rides a thing? Why is this a thing within the U.S.? Well, in the late 90s and early 2000s, groups like the Starboys, Street Fighters, and a lot of other clubs were starting to put on some of the big first stunt rides.
Hey, what's up, young man?
God damn it, what are you doing? Selling water?
Yeah, you want some water?
You know I do, I'm thirsty.
All right, then, that's what I'm talking about.
Are you part of the legendary legends?
The legends?
Yeah.
I know those guys.
You got change for a $5 or nah?
Yeah.
Do you?
You just need change. You don't want water, you just want change.
Give me the water.
I'm not a member of them, but I got a Gold Wing. They got Harleys.
Oh, okay. Hey, we like Hondas and Cowies and all that stuff too, right?
Hey,
No. Keep the change. You have a good day, yeah?
Oh, thank you.
That's the most expensive one I ever bought. So as these groups continue to put on these rides, they grew and grew and grew. And back then, you know what? It was on MySpace. They had MySpace groups. Can't you just picture Sit Down Steve and Street Fighter Adam on MySpace? I already know that they had a really cool background picture for their ROC page. I was not old enough to be attending those rides during the MySpace ages, but I could imagine what it would look like. Probably an edgy Nickelback song as the profile song. The water feels good. And this 0304 feels even better. And not only has stunt riding's popularity continued to grow, but social media has continued to grow. Facebook came around and event pages started to become more prevalent. And as you guessed, more and more stunt rides became a thing. Middle of the Map, Ride of the Century, MLK, Hollywood Takeover, and SmackDown and Doomsday here in Chicago. And a lot of infamous stunt rides continued to grow for the same reasons that the sport itself was growing. Young guys were getting into it. Japanese bikes were becoming more and more better built. This is the early 2000s, mid 2000s. They were really building some great bikes for stunt riding back then. Not to say they're not anymore, but they're producing a lot of them. The golden age of Japanese bikes, if you will. And it's pretty easy to see why people began to get attracted to these 1, 2, 300 person group rides. The sense of camaraderie around like-minded people that share a common interest with you, that's not something that is new. You know, gun enthusiasts like hanging out with gun enthusiasts. Dance enthusiasts like hanging out with dance enthusiasts. And guess what? Stunt riders like hanging out with other stunt riders. And we all get to go on a big group ride or two together. The ghetto bird's out. Look at him. Hello! Looking for somebody, man. He's pretty low. This thing is so smooth and quiet. for an 0304, the motor. And as the after videos from some of these infamous stunt rides continue to pour out onto YouTube and DVDs, young guys like myself and guys way after us continue to watch in awe as, you know, hundreds if not thousands of guys continue to show up for these huge stunt riding events, documenting some of the wildest stunts that really did set the tone for ages to come, and some pretty infamous crashes along the way. I remember watching some of the ROC after videos like in literal awe on YouTube back in the day. How are these guys doing this? Which brings us to present day, which is a little bit bleak if we do look at it in 2023. MLK is no longer really a thing anymore. Hollywood's Black Party is no longer a thing anymore. ROC hasn't happened in 2.5 years. Whoa. Jeez. Boys almost cut me off. Doomsday hasn't happened in over 2 years as well. Like, a lot of these big rides are just not happening anymore, which brings me to Lean Back. This is still happening. This is the ride that we've hosted for 7 years, and do like to think it's one of the biggest stunt rides in the country at this point. But there's a reason that these rides keep dying out. Not only do the guys get older, but there's sometimes some pretty high profile stupid stuff that happens, like what happened at Hollywood's Ride Out with the guy getting dragged out of his car and beaten by bikers. Obviously he hit a bike, but mob mentality took over, and it just doesn't benefit anybody at that point. So today, like I wanted to talk to you about, besides the little bit of history there, is how are we going to do this safely? How are we going to keep stunt riding alive? And how the hell are we going to keep these giant events alive so our kids can do it? Well, let's talk about it. I say it a lot at the beginning of a lot of my stunt rides, man, and it's something that I really want to like drive. And I think it's probably the most important thing to staying safe at one of these big stunt rides. And yes, I do say normally a prayer before every single ride that I go on. But I think the most important part here, guys, is that you are riding around riders that you are familiar with their style. You're not around Joe Schmo from Kansas City and the drunk guy in the Busa from Miami, and you don't know who the hell these guys are, and they just look like trouble, and you're gonna, you know, ride next to them, knowing you all have different styles, and that's it. Keep the guys that you know around you. They're the ones that are going to push your bike when it breaks down. They're the ones that know that you like to drop back and scrape. They're the ones that know that, oh my God, Brian's clicking second or third gear, probably going to hit a stoppie here. They know that. The random guy does not know that, man. So keeping those trusted people around you is really, really, really key. Guys that know your riding style. It's helped me survive a whole lot of rides, because, you know, almost every time I see one of my friends go down or cause to go down, there's always like some, you know, person like, who the hell is that? Like, what were they doing? You know, and it might be one of their first stunt rides, and they might still be learning, and that is totally fine. But if you're trying to make it home, like myself or like a lot of other people, not to the hospital or, you know, or anywhere else that you don't want to be, that's probably one of the biggest things to do, man. Keep your trusted people around you. With that being said, let's see if we can pop this thing up. Do a coaster, maybe? She sounds good, baby. The old stocker. You gotta love a stock 636, man. So I think that's the #1 thing that you gotta be aware of when you come to these rides, and I think that's my secret #1 way of making it out of this shit alive. #2, crashes. And guys, there's a reason I'm going over all this a week before Lean Back, or, you know, right a couple days before it starts. It's because I want you guys to know how to act in these situations. Crashes. Guess what? There's gonna be crashes, all right? Every stunt ride's got crashes. It's how we handle them. Somebody goes down in the middle of the highway. Everybody puts down their wheelies, and everyone throws up that hand and hits their limiter or whatever. Get your attention so other people can put down their wheelies. It's super vital in letting know the rest of the pack that a bike is down in the middle of the highway. That way, guys that are still going 50 miles an hour, a couple feet back, have time to put down their wheelies and slow down. Having a recovery vehicle is a luxury. On some of these big rides, we do have recovery vehicles, you know, ROC, Lean Back, Doomsday. There's normally recovery vehicles. ROL, Ride of the Legends out in California, there's normally a recovery vehicle. What I mean by that is a truck. But on some of these other rides, man, it's really key to not only do a quick triage of whoever went down on the side of the road. Can we move them? Do they have spinal damage? Do they have serious head trauma? Are we going to be able to get this person on the back of a bike or back on their own bike and either tow that bike, you know, by hand or by foot to a safer place outside of the highway? Or is this something that we're going to have to get an ambulance to right now? 9 times out of 10 on a stunt ride, it's not going to be anything too serious. It's going to be a broken bone. It's going to be some road rash. Maybe your bike's fucked up. But like I said, we're trying to get that bike and rider off the highway as quick as possible, whether that's to the shoulder, and then once we're from the shoulder, we're getting them off the highway physically to a side street. Kind of feel like pulling over and drinking my drink for a little bit. My water. But yeah, we're getting those guys off the highway, man. The highway is the danger zone. Obviously, that's when a stolen key will come flying through the pack and run everyone over if there's a bike down in the middle of the highway. Whew. My nuts are hot. She's hot. Wow, literally, look at that. Speaking of stolen Kias, look whose ignition is busted out. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the ignition is busted out of that Kia. I say it, and look at that. We just pull up on a random one. Man, she good looking. Oh, we got a tumbleweave. So I think that's a number 2 point that I really wanted to get across. I have about 5 that I want to talk about with you guys. Number 2, how to handle crashes and why that is important. And number 3 is something that you need to take into your personal account, and this is like something that you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, but you got to know your skill level, man. I hope that you would not come out to a stunt ride and do something that you are not more than capable of doing by yourself around hundreds of other people. Why would you risk something that you're a little edgy about, you know? If you can't do a 3rd or 4th gear rolling burnout, guess what? When you're around 1,000 other riders in the middle of downtown Chicago, it's probably not a better time to do it. You know what I mean? If you're not confident at doing something like that, don't do it in the first place. Same thing goes, you can't see very well in your high chair wheelies and you're having trouble slowing them down and you're not really confident with it. Maybe don't do it in a huge pack. I understand accidents do happen, but you got to kind of know your skill level and what tricks you're really comfortable with and not comfortable with doing. And that is 100% you just being honest with yourself, man. All of us are trying to have fun. All of us are trying to enjoy our sport that not a lot of other people take seriously. So the least you can do is let us all make it out of this alive. If you can barely do balance point, it's probably not a good time to try to clutch up a 3rd gear high chair on the highway because you saw freaking low life stunts from Florida do it. Probably not a good time to do it, man. Just because you saw Palin or Patton from Kansas City dragging a podium down the street, probably not a good idea to try it on your stock Gixxer right next to the boys, you know? Come on, man. Why would you do that? So know yourself, know your skill level. That's rule number 3. Ways to make it home, number 3. Number 4, and this one is super important, and it all kind of ties together, okay? It all kind of ties together. I'm going to give you them. Respect the spot, respect the host, respect the cops, okay? You come to one of these big rides, please don't go to the meetup spot, you know, an hour early doing burnouts. If and when the cops do come there, do not disrespect them. I know Chicago and St. Louis and Kansas City, every single one of these big rides, middle of the map, ROC and lean back over the years, we've worked with different factions of the police departments to help organize and get the riders out of there safely. So by you panicking or antagonizing the police, swerving at the police, doing that stuff, it's not helping at all. It's kind of hurting the guys that reached out and tried to organize these rides over the years. Some of these rides have been going on longer than some of these guys riding have been alive, which is insane. So respect the spots, respect the businesses that let us meet up there, respect the hosts. What that means is if you're not a local and you're not a guy that knows the route, maybe don't go to the front and take the pack somewhere. If you're up front leading the pack of a couple hundred, a couple thousand guys and you don't know where the hell we're going, you're probably wrong, bro. Probably stay in the middle or a little bit farther back, you know. It's a really good way to ruin an event that somebody worked a long time for. So just, you know, keep that in mind. So I think all 3 of those super important. Respect the spot, respect the host, respect the cops. The host cares about you guys. Obviously, he's one of you. The business cares about you guys. Obviously, they're letting it happen. And the cops in these big cities that this shit has been happening, they know. And they just want to safely get us in and out of places and get on with their day. See if I'm the knocker, huh? Woo! Man, is this thing smooth. Stalkers, man. Fun, fun, fun for everyone. I love wheelies. The geese love the wheelies. The inmates love the wheelies. We're good. We're having a good time. No, it's not a Hood Eats, but man, this is the biggest jail in the whole U.S. It holds the most amount of inmates at one time awaiting trial. Pretty sad. It tells you how slow our judicial system is here in Illinois. Guys wait here for trial for way too long. Way too long. We'll just say that. Years, 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 years. Biggest jail in the U.S. 26th in California. Cook County. And number 5, man, this goes along with number 4, I guess, in a weird way, but sidewalks and oncoming. Don't ride the sidewalks. Don't run into oncoming unless you really need to. And I think you know what I'm talking about. You know, if one of the escorts is being extra aggressive and or something something serious went on and you have to get around it, then yeah, use your sidewalks, use your oncoming. But for the guy, like if I'm riding right here and we're all doing wheelies and whatever, and I look over to my left and I see a Chinese 110 dirt bike just flying down the sidewalk, just going, you know, almost clipping pedestrians and cars. What are you doing? Just get in the regular lane with everyone else, get back in formation, and yeah, just learn a thing or two, man. If your craziest trick is riding the sidewalks or dodging oncoming cars, if that's your craziest trick, I'm not telling you to stay home, but maybe consider, you know, I don't know, maybe consider following in step, you know what I mean? If that's your best stunt, I'll just leave it at that. If that's your best stunt, nodding my head. So stay off the sidewalk, stay out of oncoming. You guys know the dealio. I want to keep this shit going just as much as y'all do. I really do. I love stunt riding. I love big stunt rides. My favorite memories happened at these big stunt rides, and I want to keep them alive. And as you can see, there's not many left. I'm not just saying that because of Lean Back in Chiraq. I'm saying that because I genuinely love going to these rides. Yes, is Lean Back this week? Yes. Is it in Chicago? Yes. I think you guys know about Lean Back enough. But I just want to make it out of there, man. I want to see as many guys make it home, not laid up in hospital beds in Chicago. Oh, and one last little, this is a cherry. This is a caveat, and it goes back to the crashes. If you're out here on a stunt ride and you don't know how to tow a bike or push a bike, you're doing your friends and yourself disjustice. As the towee, you can hang on to the back of a seat with a hole in it like that. And as a pusher, you can put your foot on the back, your Yeezys, on the back of a rear passenger peg or subcage of another stunt bike. And if you're not a pusher, puller, or pulled, the guy that's broken down, and you're trying to get him home, then your responsibility is blocking the lights, because you're going to take lights when you're getting pushed. It is what it is. It sucks when you're hurt and trying to hang on to the back of something. You block for your friends, okay? So hopefully you know how to tow and recover a bike. This is fun, man. This is fun. I love coming out in Chicago and actually vlogging, man. Not hood eats, not a scheduled anything, just literally out in the streets, busy, bustling streets of Chicago, and yeah, just doing the damn thing. Is this taco spot open or no? Tacos. We're in the south part of Little Village here. We're on 31st and Pulaski. Their main drag is 26th. Let's see what we got here. Flan. Seems good. My finger hurts.
I'll just have a steak torta. Yes, please. Thanks. Those are my socks. Those are my cocks.
Very good, man. El Molino. Very good. Good. A bunch of artwork here. Hate has no home here. Say their names. No justice, no peace. The big Chicago flag across it. It was a crazy time to be here in Chicago, man, after the George Floyd riots. It was a crazy time. Cool. Not a hood eats, but definitely a hood eats spot. 31st and Pulaski, man. Wish I could talk about the neighborhood a little bit, but I don't want to step on my own toes. Save the Little Village again for another hood eats. Talk about a lot of history, man. And a unique neighborhood. Highest density of Hispanics in the Midwest. 98% Hispanic in Little Village. It's pretty cool. So guys, I guess I really will just wrap it up with one word. Stereotypical and stupid as this may sound. Respect. Just be respectful, man. Respect other riders. Respect yourself. Respect the seniority and the skill level of other riders, you know? Whether that, you know, the senior rider respecting that the junior guy might not know every single thing, and the junior guy, you know, respecting that the senior rider might want to try to get around him and do some stunts, and, you know, he needs to act accordingly and not think that this is a battle. Respecting the spots, respecting the police, respecting our sport, respecting one another. I think all this is important, and I guess this whole video could have got summed up in that one word there, respect. Let's keep stunt rides great, man. You know, they are awesome. They are a great outlet for young guys and young girls to all come together and enjoy something that a lot of us have fallen in love with and are extremely passionate about. And to be honest, quite a few of us, it's their whole life. Like, riding is my life. Like, if I'm not riding, I'm watching videos about riding. I'm looking at parts for my bikes, looking to make new designs for shirts or whatever. Like, riding is life. I'm even driving a car. I'm thinking about, man, this would be a good street to stunt on or whatever. So let's keep it that way, man. Let's keep these big rides a thing. I would love for my kids one day to be able to jump on bikes and go ride with 2,000-3,000 mature, awesome people. And one last time, man, if you guys aren't entered into to win this 636, got about a month left. Link is right down there. Thing is mint. But as always, guys, but not as always, I should say, I will see a lot of you very soon. Drive safe, ride safe. I will see a good amount of you in these streets this upcoming week. I love you guys. Respect each other. Respect life. Let's make it out of this one alive, all right? Your least favorite motovlogger, Brian636, signing out from the streets of Chiraq. I can't wait to lean back in them with you guys. I'm out of here. Peace.